Welcome all to the second part of human rights, the United Nations Commission on Human Rights. The Commission is made up of 53 representatives of members states of the United Nations who are selected for 3 years of term by ECOSOC on the basis of equitable geographic distribution. In the first 20 years of its existence, the Commission focused on preparing an impressive number of international instruments, thus translating the right proclaimed in the Universal Declaration into binding provision. In 1967, Resolution 1235 of the ECOSOC holding an annual public debate on the cause human rights violation. In 1970, Resolution 1503 of ECOSOC, the subcommission and the promotion and protection of human rights in charged with the examination of individual petitions between 1972 and 1999. 75 states were investigated under the procedure. And in 2000, Resolution 2000 of ECOSOC, the criteria of admissibility of individual complaints were taken. Since 1990, the priority of the Commission have been to provide advisory and technical assistance to the member states in the field of human rights and to focus on social, economic and cultural rights, including the right to develop and to an adequate standard of living. The Office of High Commission for Human Rights, the General Assembly created this office on 1993. Excuse me. The main task of the High Commissioner are to promote and protect the enjoyment of all human rights, including the right to development, to provide all forms of assistance, including financial and technical assistance in the field of human rights at the request of a state. Third, to stimulate and to coordinate actions of human rights within the United Nations system at international level. Next is the regional protection of human rights. There are a number of arrangements aimed to be protecting human rights within a specific region. There are human rights initiatives in America, Africa, Asia and Europe. Among the regional arrangements of the European system of protection of human rights in best terms of effectiveness and maturity. The Inter-American Human Rights System is based on the Charter of the Organization of American States, the American Declaration of Rights and Duties of Man and Inter-American Convention on Human Rights. Next, in Africa, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. In Asia, it is the Asian Human Rights Charter. In Europe, the main element of European system for the protection of human rights in the European Convention for the Protection of Human Rights and Fundamental Freedom 1950, together with its enforcement missionaries. The main objectives of the Council of Europe, one of the most efficient and competent intergovernmental organization in Europe, are the promotion of European unity by promoting and encouraging common European action in economic, social, legal and administrative matters, the protection of human rights, fundamental freedom and pluralistic democracy, the development of European cultural identity. The European Convention on Human Rights is the greatest achievement of the Council of Europe, but among the important conventions prepared by the Council of Europe which complement and extend the protection of human rights in Europe are the European Social Charter, the Framework Convention for Protection of National Minorities, the European Convention for the Prevention of Torture and Inhuman and Degrading Treatment of Punishment, the Convention for the Protection of Human Rights and Dignity of the Human Beings with regard to the application of biology and medicine, the Convention on Human Rights and Biomedicine. The European Convention on Human Rights was opened for signature on 4th November 1950 and entered into force in September 1953. 44 European states or contracting states of ECHR and the European Convention on Human Rights, together with its protocols and procedures for enforcement, constitutes the right and the most efficient regional arrangement for protection of human rights. Rights protected under the conventions are both civil and political rights. Substantive right protected under European Convention on Human Rights. Right to life, prohibition of torture, prohibition of slavery and forced labor, right to fair trial, right to no punishment without law, right to respect for private and family life, freedom of thought, conscience and religion, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly and association, right to marry, right to an effective remedy, prohibition from discrimination are also a part of ECHR. The European Court of Human Rights, the number of judges is the same as the number of contracting states, 44. The criteria of the office of judges are: the judge sits in his individual capacity and does not represent any state. He or she must hold a high moral standard. He should have relevant qualification in his or her country for holding the position of the high office. Must act with total impartiality and independence.